Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we're counting down our picks for the shows that became a shell of their former selves.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Number 10. Sherlock.
You've brought me here to send a text.
Text, yes, the number on my desk.
We opened with a controversial take for some, but as years go by, more and more fans and YouTube essayists have been critical of this modern take on Sherlock's later series. The show did a fantastic job of establishing itself early on by adapting the classic tales into the present day. By the time the third season came around, there was a clear decline in writing quality, but its rabid fan base could look past these issues thanks to its exciting and engaging scenes. Season 4 was another story altogether, as the issues were far less forgivable.
2 weeks ago?
3.
I'm that predictable.
No.
There was an over-reliance on Deus Ex Machina to resolve many of the cases, and the promises of some kind of post-death Moriarty return fell completely flat.
Me? Me?
The characters began to suffer far too much, and the whole thing just felt a bit too joyless. Number 9. This Morning. Where to begin with this one? This Morning prides itself on being a heartwarming and wholesome daytime show that speaks to the British public on an almost personal level. But controversy after controversy began to mount the show, and pretty soon, viewers could no longer trust it.
Well, this week we've got our usual cash prizes, but you could also win some extra cash to pay your energy bills until the end of the year.
The combination of Holly and Phil was beloved by the public, but after they were involved in different scandals, opinions changed, and eventually they both left the show.
Feels very strange indeed sitting here without Phil.
The problem is that they haven't been able to recapture the magic of their earlier days, and their new hosting duo just doesn't have the chemistry that viewers are willing to tune into.
We all know that. But what do you do if a scammer actually turns up on your doorstep?
Number 8. The Witcher.
Not often do we see your likeness here in Blaviken.
Not many of my likeness left.
The promise of a Witcher show that would adapt the esteemed books and be led by a huge fan of the source material, that being Henry Cavill as Geralt of Rivia, was beyond exciting. Did it live up to it? Well, not quite. But regardless, the first season was a good time, and Cavill absolutely crushed it. The positive reaction must have convinced the showrunners that they could get away with whatever they wanted, however. The second season deviated far more from the source material, and despite good critical reception, user scores were far more negative.
Yes. It's been a difficult few months.
By the time season 3 rolled out, the show seemed to be featuring its main character Geralt less and less, which is bizarre because he is its whole appeal.
I don't want to do this. You know, I don't want to do this either.
Cavill would go on to leave the series, with many speculating that the showrunner's refusal to follow the source material had frustrated him beyond redemption. Number 7. Skins. It was crude, it was lewd, and it was everything adults hated about teenagers.
I report you to your college, you common little
Skins was like nothing else ever seen on telly before. The show really struck a chord with the viewing public through its willingness to tackle serious issues with a cast of characters who, despite their flaws, were relatable.
You gonna eat that?
Oh, totally. I'm better now.
But something went wrong with seasons 5 and 6. See, they forgot to make the third generation's cast likeable in any way. Fans couldn't get behind these new characters and just weren't invested enough to keep watching. It no longer had the impact it once did, and despite many enjoying season 7, most fans had already tuned out before it even began. Number 6. Misfits.
Did you enjoy it?
Shut up, you little freak!
I think you enjoyed it.
Everyone knows the first 2 seasons of this superpowers show are absolutely killer. The wild brand of humour, mixed with outlandish situations the team of delinquents would find themselves in, ensured it was a hit. But of course, when season 3 began, Robert Sheehan was no longer involved.
No, that was the wrong number! I need a new phone call!
He played the character Nathan, who, on top of being the funniest character, was also essentially the lead. Without him, the show lost its sense of direction, despite the best efforts of the rest of the team.
Yes! Yes! He did it! I took the rap. I'm totally innocent.
It certainly didn't help that the writing quality got noticeably worse. Number 5. Coronation Street. It would take a great disaster for fans to tune out of this soap for good, but they're certainly complaining about it more than ever.
Come here, look, it's not your fault, okay?
Coronation Street seems to be stuck in a bit of a rut these days. They're struggling to come up with storylines that are as groundbreaking as the ones that made it famous throughout the years. Simply put, everything's already been done. There's also a bit of an air of misery around it these days, like the joy has been sucked out. Someone's always slowly dying from a disease. There's always a new thug that's turned up to threaten one of the characters in a storyline that lasts for months. Even comic relief characters are being thrown in prison or cuckolded.
Come here, mate.
Another issue seems to be the increase of storylines about teenagers, which really isn't what the demographic are interested in.
Oh, how sad is that?
They want Corrie, not Grange Hill. Number 4. Good Morning Britain.
The Defence Secretary has defended reports, well I suppose you would because he's the Defence Secretary.
How is it even still on telly? There's something missing from this show, and we honestly don't like to admit it, but whether you love him or absolutely loathe him, the show's beating heart was Piers Morgan.
Whoa! What level's that?
0.
Huh?
0.
0?
After his dramatic walkout mid-argument with the weatherman, Piers never returned to the show. Ever since, it's been lifeless. It never appears in headlines for the right or wrong reasons, and it just sort of exists. Viewers used to tune in to see him lose it over something like a sausage roll, but now they don't even have that incentive to tune into the show.
That's a good look.
Meanwhile, Morgan now has an online series that is drawing massive numbers with its controversial guests and debates, something the GMB team could really do with these days. Number 3. Game of Thrones. It could be argued that Game of Thrones is one of the greatest TV series ever made.
Don't tell anyone. I have a reputation to maintain.
It had a godly cast made of some of the finest actors the UK had to offer, and an amazing series of books to adapt. When they ran out of source material to follow, however, things got a little bit wacky.
I will fight for you. I will fight for the North.
Characters would be teleporting to different areas of the massive world between scenes and such, but it would still be an exciting time. That can't be said for the final season, however, which was abysmal, especially its ending, which had fans collectively groaning at how uninspired it was.
You know how it ends. We need to find a better way.
Thankfully, HBO's prequel series, House of the Dragon, seems to be giving fans a taste of what they loved from those earlier Game of Thrones seasons.
Silence!
Number 2. Top Gear.
Why don't we go for a drive?
That's a better idea.
Yeah, you knew it was coming. Top Gear was must-see TV for many years since the formation of the trio of Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond and James May. However, when Clarkson was wrapped up in a controversy in which he hit a producer of the show, he was given the boot. His co-hosts didn't stick around after his firing, which meant that the BBC was left fumbling to find their replacements, and they did a terrible job in selecting them.
Finally getting to see Chris enjoy his breakfast twice.
The team of Chris Evans and Matt LeBlanc was absolutely dire. Though their eventual replacements of Freddie Flintoff, Paddy McGuinness and Chris Harris were a slight upgrade, it still wasn't good enough.
How do you crack this then?
Fans had no reason to stick around, especially when Clarkson, Hammond and May were doing their own thing over on the Grand Tour, which was significantly better. Number 1. Doctor Who. You've seen it posted everywhere. Doctor Who is dead. It really is tragic, as the show seemed to be going on an upward trajectory, with the massive success of leads in Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant, Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi, each complemented by superb storytelling. The casting of Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor was a controversial one, but her seasons were ultimately poorly received because of their bad writing and insistence on altering the established Doctor Who lore.
What's that?
Tongue?
Tongue! Smart boy, biology.
When the time came to cast her replacement, they really had to hit it out of the park, and they seemed to do so with Ncuti Gatwa and the return of showrunner Russell T Davies. These hopes were crushed when the new season began, and it had more of the same issues that had caused the show to hemorrhage viewers in recent years.
You are what you are and that is magnificent.
But Mummy and Daddy left us.
That's okay.
They also seem to be actively attacking their core fan base, making comments like how if they didn't like it, they should simply stop watching. Fans seem to have taken this advice to heart, because the latest season has received the worst ratings in the show's history.
But it's so sad!
Which show do you think fell off hard? Let us know in those comments below.
Sir, please.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojoUK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.